Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into something really interesting, this connection between, age-old practices and modern health. We're talking about the power of fermented foods, something maybe often overlooked.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're looking at material that's really focused on, well, practical, evidence-based ways to live healthier, especially for Americans over 55.
Right.
Think of it as a guide to boosting vitality, quality of life, using wisdom that's actually been around for ages.
So our mission today is basically to pull out the most important sort of nuggets of knowledge about why these fermented foods are such key allies, particularly as we get older.
Yeah.
And one thing jumps out straight away. Did you know nearly 68%, that's almost 7 out of 10 Americans over 55, deal with regular digestive issues, bloating, constipation, that kind of thing. It's super common.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, has some of the nutritional advice we focused on maybe missed a piece of the puzzle, something earlier generations just knew? This material we're looking at strongly suggests that, yeah, traditional fermented foods could be that missing link. A powerful way to maybe improve digestion, boost immunity, and help calm down chronic inflammation.
Which are huge concerns for that age group.
Absolutely top concern.
Yeah, imagine feeling, more energetic, less bogged down by digestive stuff, just by bringing back a food tradition that people relied on for centuries. This information really frames it well, connecting these foods to those changes you might notice as you age. Maybe digestion feels off, energy dips. You seem to catch everything.
Yeah, reaching for the quick fixes.
Right. And that's where foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir come in.
Yeah.
They're packed with beneficial bacteria probiotics.
Exactly. These live microorganisms aren't just, a trend. They play this crucial role in restoring balance to your gut microbiome. And when that gut ecosystem is happy, it just ripples outwards.
So a healthy gut means you absorb nutrients better, right?
Okay.
Your immune system, which is mostly in the gut, gets stronger. And the research now is really showing it supports mental clarity, emotional well-being. That whole gut-brain thing we'll get into.
Definitely. Plus, it's not just the probiotics. The fermentation process itself creates unique enzymes, beneficial compounds you don't really find elsewhere in the same way.
There's a great little story in here about Martha. She's 67 from Cincinnati. Struggled for years with chronic bloating, constipation, just feeling wiped out all the time.
Yeah, I saw that one.
She thought she was eating okay, but nothing worked. Then she starts adding fermented foods.
And the change was pretty dramatic, wasn't it?
Yeah. Within like 3 weeks, her digestion improved, energy levels shot up, and she even noticed her seasonal allergies, which she'd had for ages, were much less severe.
And that's not just a one-off. There was a really significant study from Stanford back in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
They found people eating fermented foods regularly boosted their gut microbiome diversity and lowered inflammation markers. And interestingly, for those inflammation markers, the fermented food group actually did better than a group on a high-fiber diet.
Wow. Better than high fiber for inflammation. That's saying something.
It really is. And for people over 55, that link to inflammation is massive. Chronic inflammation is tied to so many age-related things: arthritis, heart disease, cognitive decline.
So tackling that is a huge win.
Huge win. So let's really nail down those key benefits for the 55-plus crowd. First off, improved digestion.
Right.
As we age, things like stomach acid, digestive enzymes, gut movement, they can slow down. Fermented foods bring live enzymes and bacteria that help support all that, improving nutrient absorption, promoting regularity.
Okay, makes sense. And number 2.
Enhanced immune function. It's kind of mind-blowing, but like 70–80% of your immune system is based in your gut.
70 to 80%.
Yeah. So the good bacteria from these foods strengthen that system, potentially makes you more resilient to infections, helps you recover faster.
Okay, number 3.
Reduced inflammation. We just touched on this, but it's worth repeating. The compounds and microbes in fermented foods can help modulate your immune response, lowering those inflammatory markers linked to age-related conditions.
Got it. Number 4.
Better nutrient absorption. Fermentation breaks down stuff like phytates compounds in plants that can block mineral absorption, so it makes vitamins and minerals more available to your body. It's super important since absorption can decrease as we get older.
Right, so you get more bang for your buck from your food.
Exactly. And finally, number 5, support for brain health. This gut-brain connection is such a hot area.
Yeah.
There's this constant two-way street between your digestive system and your brain, mainly via the vagus nerve. And it turns out the bacteria in your gut are major players in that conversation.
So research from places like Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, even showing up in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease.
And University of Michigan, too, all pointing to how your gut bacteria composition can impact your mental state. These little microbes actually produce neurotransmitters, serotonin, GABA, dopamine.
Wow. So supporting your gut could directly support your mood, focus, maybe even sleep.
That's what the science is suggesting. It really underlines that digestive health isn't a minor thing for older Americans. It's foundational. Poor digestion can spiral into malnutrition, muscle loss, low energy, cognitive issues.
Even if you think you're eating well.
Precisely. Fermented foods help make sure your body actually gets the good stuff you're putting in.
It's amazing how this all circles back to history, isn't it?
Oh.
Fermentation is ancient, thousands of years old, every culture practically.
Oh, absolutely. Before fridges, it was survival. Early American settlers, pioneers fermenting the harvest was how they got through winter. Those root cellars with crocks of sauerkraut, pickles, that was food security.
And recipes passed down for generations.
Yeah. And then immigration brought even more variety. Germans, Eastern Europeans with the sauerkraut and pickles, Jewish communities with brined veggies, sourdough, Scandinavians with cultured dairy.
And now we see things like kimchi, miso, kefir becoming more mainstream.
Right. But then around the mid-20th century, things shifted. Industrial food, refrigeration, pasteurization.
Shelf life became king.
Exactly. A lot of commercial stuff started using vinegar for tang, not real fermentation, or they pasteurized it, killing all the good bugs. We sort of lost touch with those living foods.
Until now. Now there's this big revival.
Driven by the science confirming what our ancestors knew, and people wanting to reconnect with those traditions.
It really is a full circle moment. Ancient wisdom, modern proof.
Beautifully put.
Okay, so let's get into the science a bit more. What's actually happening in that jar of sauerkraut or bottle of kefir?
Right. At its heart, fermentation is microorganisms transforming food. Beneficial bacteria, yeasts, sometimes fungi, they munch on the carbohydrates in the food.
And turn them into?
Things like acids, lactic acid is a big one, sometimes gases or alcohol. This changes the taste, the texture, makes it more digestible, preserves it. But crucially for health, it creates those probiotics.
Probiotics, the good guys. Live microorganisms that give a health benefit when you eat enough of them, mostly by helping your gut, right?
Exactly. Your gut is home to this massive, complex community, trillions of microbes, called the gut microbiome. Keeping that community balanced and, really importantly, diverse is critical as we age.
Diversity seems key, like the American Gut Project showed, right? More variety in your gut bugs equals better health.
Yes, precisely. Think of it like a well-rounded team in your gut, and that team is vital for your immune system. Remember that 70–80% figure?
Yeah.
The gut lining is the barrier, the gatekeeper. A healthy, diverse microbiome keeps that barrier strong.
Preventing leaky gut where stuff gets through that shouldn't.
If that barrier weakens, things can leak into the bloodstream and trigger inflammation systemically. The good bacteria help patch up the walls, so to speak.
And these gut microbes are like little factories, too.
They really are. They make vitamins. We need like B vitamins, vitamin K2, which is important for bones and heart health. They also break down fibers we can't digest, producing short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Yeah, it's like superfood for the cells lining your gut, and it has powerful anti-inflammatory effects right there at the source.
Okay, now this gut-brain axis, this seems huge, especially for aging.
It's one of the most exciting areas of research, this constant communication loop between your gut and brain. It's often called the second brain.
Because the gut has its own nervous system.
A really complex one, yeah. Over 100 million nerve cells. It talks to your main brain via pathways like the vagus nerve and through chemical signals. And your gut bacteria directly influence those signals.
So studies are linking gut bacteria makeup to mood, like you mentioned.
Yeah, Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, showing connections to mental state. Because the bacteria themselves produce neurotransmitters. Serotonin, 95% made in the gut. GABA, dopamine.
That's wild. 95% of serotonin.
Yep. And research in journals focusing on Alzheimer's has found links between gut bacteria changes and cognitive decline. Poor gut health has been linked to more anxiety, depression in older adults, too.
So feeding your gut well with diverse probiotics could actually be a strategy for supporting brain health and emotional well-being long-term.
That's the strong implication. And fermented foods deliver these probiotics in a unique way. Unlike supplements with maybe a few isolated strains.
Fermented foods have a whole community.
Exactly. A diverse community of bacteria, maybe yeasts too. Many researchers think there's a synergy there. They work together. Plus, The food itself protects them on their journey through the stomach.
So more might survive to reach the intestines.
Potentially, yes. And when you eat these foods regularly, you're introducing these beneficial microbes. They might not stay forever, but they can positively influence your existing gut community, creating a better environment.
Which is extra important for the over 55s because things naturally shift with age, right? Stomach acid, motility, medications.
All those factors can reduce microbial diversity, so adding fermented foods is like proactively pushing back against those age-related changes, supporting your gut function.
In that Stanford study, again, increased diversity, less inflammation in just 10 weeks. Pretty compelling.
Very. It really shows simple dietary changes can make a measurable difference relatively quickly. Empowering stuff.
Okay, let's zoom in on 3 specific fermented foods highlighted in this material. Kimchi, sauerkraut, and kefir. Great starting points.
Absolutely. They offer a good mix of types and flavors.
First up, kimchi. That spicy, tangy Korean staple. Getting popular here now.
And for good reason. Usually Napa cabbage, garlic, ginger, chili, a real flavor bomb. And a probiotic powerhouse. Lots of lactobacillus. Great for digestion.
Plus, it's packed with nutrients, right? Vitamins A, C, K, B vitamins, antioxidants from the peppers and veggies.
Definitely contributes to its anti-inflammatory properties. The lactic acid helps digestion too, and you get fiber.
And it's surprisingly versatile. You mentioned eggs, stir fries. I've seen it on burgers, tacos, even in stews.
Lots of ways to use it.
Okay, next, sauerkraut, the European classic, sour cabbage. Much simpler, often just cabbage and salt.
Yeah, relies on the natural bacteria on the cabbage. Another great source of lactobacillus. Historically famous for preventing scurvy, the fermentation preserves, even boosts vitamin C.
Good source of fiber, too. Good for regularity. And some research hints it might help with detoxification.
There's some evidence around compounds in fermented cabbage supporting detox pathways, yes.
And uses. Hot dogs, Reubens, obviously.
Yeah.
But great as a side dish. In salads, potato salads, soups.
Very versatile in its own right.
And finally, kefir, the fermented milk drink from the Caucasus Mountains. Kind of like thin yogurt.
Right. Made with kefir grains, which aren't grains, but a sokobiwai, a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeasts.
And its big thing is diversity.
Incredible diversity. Can have up to 30 different strains of bacteria and yeasts, often way more varied than standard yogurt. That's a huge plus for your gut ecosystem.
And easier to digest for people with lactose issues.
Often, yes, because the fermentation breaks down a lot of the lactose. Plus, it's a nutrient powerhouse: calcium, phosphorus, B12, B2, magnesium, vitamin D, protein.
So good for bone health, too, with the calcium and K2.
Definitely. And that diverse probiotic load gives the immune system a good boost.
How do you use it? Drink it plain.
You can. Or blend it in smoothies. The fruit cuts the tang. Use it for salad dressings. Pour it over granola.
Okay, crucial point when buying these.
Yeah.
Look for live and unpasteurized.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Pasteurization heat kills the beneficial bacteria. So you want labels saying raw, unpasteurized, live cultures, naturally fermented, and they must be in the fridge section.
Right. Shelf-stable stuff won't have the live probiotics.
Generally not, no. Also, watch out for added vinegar instead of fermentation or lots of sugar or preservatives if your goal is the probiotic benefit.
So just adding these 3, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, regularly can give you a great mix of bacteria and nutrients.
It's a fantastic start for supporting digestion, immunity, and overall well-being as you get older.
Now, the material also talks about making your own fermented foods, which sounds maybe a bit daunting.
It can seem that way, but it's often surprisingly simple, especially things like sauerkraut. And the benefits are huge. It's way cheaper, you control the ingredients, especially salt.
Ah, good point for sodium concerns.
Exactly. And you get the absolute freshest, most potent live cultures. Plus, honestly, it's quite satisfying.
Okay, so what are the basic rules?
Cleanliness is number 1. Clean hands, jars, utensils. You want the good guys to win, not mold or bad bacteria.
Right. That's it.
For veggies, usually an anaerobic environment, no air, pack things down tight, keep them submerged under brine. That stops surface mold.
Makes sense. Third.
Salt. Use non-iodized sea salt, pickling salt. It draws out liquid to make brine, inhibits bad bugs early on, and helps the good lactic acid bacteria thrive.
Okay. Fourth.
Temperature. Room temp is usually good, maybe 65, 75 Fahrenheit. Too cold, it's slow. Too hot, it can spoil.
And fifth.
Patience and observation, it's alive. You'll see bubbles, smell that pleasant sour tang develop if it smells rotten or looks fuzzy and moldy.
Cost.
Unfortunately, yes. When in doubt, throw it out. But usually, it's pretty clear when it's right.
And sauerkraut is the easiest to start with.
Often recommended, yeah. Shred cabbage, massage in salt until it makes its own brine, pack into a jar, keep it submerged, cover loosely, wait. A few days for mild, weeks for tangier.
Just taste it as it goes.
Kimchi is a bit more work with the paste, but the fermenting part is similar.
And kefir.
Super easy. Put kefir grains in milk, leave at room temp for 24-48 hours till it thickens. Strain grains, drink kefir, repeat.
So homemade means max probiotics, control, cost savings, and satisfaction.
Pretty much sums it up.
Okay, so whether you buy it or make it, how do you actually get this stuff into your meals regularly? Practical tips.
Key thing, especially if you're over 55 or new to it, start small. Seriously small. Like 1-2 tablespoons of kimchi or kraut, maybe a quarter cup of kefir. Daily consistency is the goal.
Not a huge amount all at once.
No. Let your gut adjust. Gradually increase over a few weeks. And listen to your body. If you feel uncomfortable, back off the amount.
Breakfast seems easy for kefir smoothies, granola.
Yeah, smoothies are great. Fruit balances the tang. You can put kraut or kimchi on avocado toast, add to eggs.
Lunch and dinner.
Kraut on sandwiches, hot dogs. Both are great tangy sides for meat or fish. Add to salads for crunch and flavor. Burger toppings instead of pickles. Stir into potato salad, serve with baked potatoes. Mix kimchi into fried rice. Lots of options.
And it's not just these three, right? There's kombucha, miso, real fermented pickles.
Tempeh, yogurt with live cultures. Yeah, lots more to explore. Just remember the heat thing, add after cooking if you want the probiotics. Use them like condiments.
Good tip. What if you find the flavor is really strong?
Mix them into things you already like. Start with milder versions if available. Use the tang in smoothies or flavorful dishes. And if you hate sauerkraut, try kimchi. They're very different. Don't give up after one try.
And specific tips for the 55-plus crowd again. Sodium awareness.
Right. Rinse store-bought or make your own to control salt. Digestive sensitivities start extra small. Check with your doctor if on meds, especially immune or digestive ones.
And texture. Chop finer if needed. We heard about Martha. Any other examples in the material?
Yeah, there's Robert, 68. Chronic constipation for years, even with supplements. Started with just a tablespoon of homemade sauerkraut daily, resolved in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Carol, 72. Felt she caught every cold. Started a small glass of kefir daily. Significant reduction in colds over 3 winters. Better energy.
That's impressive.
And Maria, 61, with rheumatoid arthritis. Added various ferments daily for 3 months. Reported fewer flare-ups, and her doctor saw improved inflammatory markers.
So real-world impacts on common aging issues.
Exactly, not just theory. And the experts quoted echo this. Dr. Elizabeth Morgan, a gastroenterologist, she sees positive responses in older patients with digestive issues using ferments as a complementary approach. Confirms initial gas or bloating is normal, usually passes quickly.
And Professor James Chin, a nutritional microbiologist.
He highlighted the diversity in traditional ferments compared to supplements, saying different types offer different benefits. Kimchi for immunity, kefir for lactose digestion vitamins. Emphasize diversity is key as we age.
And Sandra Williams, a nutritionist specializing in aging.
Sees those multifaceted benefits. Better absorption, energy, regularity, mood. Notes improved inflammatory markers in clients with arthritis.
Okay, let's pull this all together. We went from ancient history, necessity, its decline, and now this science-backed revival.
We looked at the science microbes transforming food, probiotics, gut microbiome diversity, the huge gut-immune connection, that fascinating gut-brain axis.
And why it's so relevant after 55 with those natural changes. The Stanford study showing real impact quickly.
Yeah. Then the spotlights on kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, their unique benefits, versatility.
The crucial buying tip, look for live, unpasteurized, refrigerated.
And the case for making your own simple, cost-effective, potent, satisfying.
We covered practical ways to incorporate them daily. Start small, be consistent, ideas for meals, other ferments, the heat issue, tips for newcomers, and specific advice for over 55s.
And wrapped with those real-life examples and expert validation.
So the action plan. What can you, the listener, actually do?
The material lays it out nicely. Step 1. This week, just try one thing. Sauerkraut, kimchi, or kefir. Buy a quality, live, refrigerated product. Start small, 1-2 tablespoons or 1/4 cup daily. See how you feel.
Okay, within 30 days.
Maybe try making simple sauerkraut at home. Gradually eat a bit more. Experiment using it in meals. Perhaps try a second type of ferment.
And within 3 months.
If it's working for you, get into a rhythm. Maybe try making kefir or kimchi. Connect with other fermenters online or locally. Use seasonal stuff. Share what you learn.
and ongoing.
Keep aiming for variety. Keep learning. Listen to your body. Consistency over perfection. Stay flexible, but keep them in your diet.
And there are resources out there if people want to learn more. Books, websites.
Loads. Books by Sanderkatz, the Shockies, websites like Cultures for Health, YouTube videos, farmers markets, health food stores are good places to look to.
Quick answers to common questions. Safe for seniors? Generally, yes, if done right. Check with doc if health issues. Low sodium. Rinse or make your own.
Homemade safety. Pleasant sour smell, no rot or mold. If unsure, toss it. Lactose intolerant. Kefir often okay due to lactose breakdown.
Okay. And next time on the deep dive.
We're tackling healthy fats for aging well, debunking myths, best sources for heart and brain, easy ways to add them in.
Sounds essential. Another great listen.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this dive into the really vibrant world of fermented foods.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Remember, healthy aging is often about those small, sustainable steps honoring tradition and science.
So whether it's just a spoonful of sauerkraut, a bit of kefir, or trying your first home ferment, you're taking a positive step towards better digestion, maybe a stronger immune system, more energy.
A healthier life. Until next time.
Take care. Champion your health.
And maybe consider this. Rediscovering these living foods isn't just about probiotics. It's kind of like reconnecting with this deep, time-tested wisdom that science is now proving right. It's an ancient path, really, towards a healthier future for yourself.